Mind Your Business is brought to you by Today's Business, your digital marketing partner. What is it about baseball that we can learn so many things from that sport that ties into everything else? In a moment, we're going to come back with somebody who pitched to Mickey Mantle, Yogi Berra, and some of the greatest players on the Yankees. And we're going to learn a little bit about business, too. Don't go away. Hi, I'm Barry Farber. Welcome to Mind Your Business. What are some of the key strategies for success in business, and why do people succeed while others don't? You can have every reason in the world why somebody doesn't succeed, but I think one of the greatest reasons why people do succeed is the work they do behind the scenes, is the effort that they put in that nobody really sees. And it was said to me many years ago by a soccer coach, and I love the quote. He said, it's funny how many times people think that, oh, he's not talented, or, how did he even get to that point? And he gave me a quote. He said, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And it's about the people who really put the time in and the passion for what they do that make a difference on the other end. And I think we underestimate, the hard work ethic, the background of people that win things, and everybody says, how'd they do that? They just see the ticker tape, or they just see them running through and winning the tournament or the marathon or whatever it might be, but they never see the thousands of hours put behind the scenes. We're going to have a guest on that I've been impressed for many years. I've known him. He not just his success in business and his referrals, and he's a dentist, and how many people loved his work because he was a perfectionist. He was big in quality and making sure everything was done right, but more so how he treated people, how he cared about his patients, and what goes around comes around. But more so how this person played baseball until he's 83 years old. He's still pitching sometimes, and he's a designated hitter in a hardball. I'm not talking about softball. I'm talking about hardball. So we're going to come back in a moment and hear from somebody who can take us to a whole new level about how we tie baseball into business. Don't go away.
Pollack, a 46-year-old dentist from Livingston, New Jersey, a modern-day Walter Mitty. But the doc is no Don Quixote, justing with windmills. This guy is for real, pitching against college-age ball players. Pollack is a perfect 8-0 this season.
You're 46 years old, you're out here playing like a kid. What keeps you going? I get up and run every morning, put a lot of miles in that way, a lot of exercise, and my mental attitude is I identify with these guys. They're just the same age as I am, or I'm the same age as they are.
Welcome back. We have Bill Doc Pollack. At 83 years old, he's still pitching and mostly plays as a designated hitter. But listen to this. He's had 1,028 wins as a pitcher. Cy Young, I think, is like 511. 1,028 wins as a pitcher. He pitched for the Yankees in 1957-58. He pitched to Mickey Mantle. He pitched to Yogi Berra and Elston Howard. He competed in 9 marathons, and the Boston Marathon and New York Marathon included. He's also in 5 Hall of Fames, okay? All 5, Roy Hobbs Hall of Fame. I got papers here from features in the New York Times and so on, but I want to welcome you. Doc, it's good to see you. Bill Doc Pollack, thanks for coming on.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Let's just go, let's go back, 1957, 1958. Here, I still have a piece of this thing, right? I know you have a better copy, but here you are. They did the whole story. It was supposed to be on someone else. It was all about you pitching to Mickey Mantle, Yogi Berra. But tell me the story when Mickey Mantle found out a kid who wanted to be a dentist, was pitching to him.
Well, according to the article, the quote that he made was, I hear he wants to be a dentist. I'm going to drill one off him.
I'm going to drill one off him.
Yeah, so he was a character,
but he didn't drill one off you.
Well, I got lucky.
You got lucky, right. Nobody got a hit. They didn't get a hit out of the field that day when you were pitching.
Arthur Daly from the Times was there. They had just brought up Bobby Richardson. He actually came over to do a story on Richardson, and he was standing out there watching me. And I didn't know I knew you're not supposed to throw batting practice full speed, but Crossetti, who was backing up, I asked him, should I throw hard? He said, can you? And I said, yeah. He says, well, go ahead. And he was pulling my chain, but I didn't realize it.
Right.
So I went out and I threw as hard as I could. It was a hot day. Everything was sinking.
Nice.
And nobody hit the ball. And Daily, writing the article, wrote about 2/3 of it about me throwing a no-hitter against the Yankees.
This was New York Times,
practice.
right? Yeah.
New York Times.
Right. And so here you are. You got Mickey said he's going to drill one out there and didn't, and those are just great times. I have to tell you, so you and I run into each other when we're coming to the games. I see you play for the Livingston Dodgers, and we go hit some on Thursdays and we have some fun. But nobody has a better attitude than you. I'm serious, and I want to tell people that because your work ethic and how you just love baseball, and this is a business show. So I wanted you to share, before we get into the baseball side, a little bit about what you said to me of the keys to being successful as a dentist, what was important to you, and I really like that. Elaborate on that.
Well, my dad was a dentist, and one of the things that he impressed on me was relationships between you and your patient. You have to show them that they're the most important person in the world, that you really care about the outcome. You want it to be perfect, as perfect as you can make it, because you're still a human being. You do the best you can.
Right.
But you have to, and the patient knows that, and they respond by sending their friends to you or saying good things about you. So what goes around comes around. You do good, and good comes back to you.
Right. No, well said. People don't care how much you know until they see how much you care about them, about the relationship, what you talked about.
Well, my mother used to say, "Don't tell me, show me." So you can talk all day and tell them how great you are, but you have to produce.
Right.
You have to be able to meet the challenge.
We're going to show the viewers. We're going to go out to the field after this and hit some balls, right? We're going to have some of your buddies out there.
All right, well, they're a lot better than I am now.
What do you think is the reason why most people fail in business? Just curious, in all kinds of businesses.
They don't pay attention to detail. They don't prepare properly, and they don't dedicate their actions to perfection. If you're going to do something, my dad used to say, I don't care what you do for the rest of your life. If you decide you want to shine shoes, give the best shine in the neighborhood, and people will come to you. And that's basically my credo. Do the best you can, and
word will get out, and perfection and quality the people talk about that, and that's why people come back to you.
Oh, hopefully.
Right. Well, look, you got 1,028 wins as a pitcher, right? And that's unheard of. And you got pieces here about your 1,000th game, the 1,000 game, 1,000 games, pitching, winning, right?
Right.
You got. So what did that feel like? And what does baseball mean to you?
Baseball is a microcosm of life. The things that happen on the field are things that you meet every day, triumph and defeat, and good times and bad times, and you have to carry that over into your life. Everything isn't always roses. Some days you eat the bear, and some days the bear eats you. It's one of those deals.
Mm-hmm. There's no sport that I think it's like, if you go 3 out of 10, if you're 7 times you're failing out of 10 tries, you're success, and
you're an all-star.
Right, you're an all-star. So you have to be able to deal with that failure a lot, right?
Yeah.
Right. What are your what do you want to do now? I mean, you got 1,028 wins, and you're still pitching. You're still pitching. Any goals for baseball?
I enjoy the camaraderie. I enjoy the competition. I like pulling the strings and seeing things turn out, hopefully successfully. We happen to have put together a pretty good bunch of guys. It's not me winning the games because I'm the manager.
You're talking about the Livingston Dodgers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But even in the past, I've been on almost every league I've been on. We've always been champions in almost every place I've gone.
Even the Air Force, right?
Yeah, well, in the Air Force, we were world champions the 2 years I was there. I didn't put the team together. I had nothing to do with it, just a part of the machinery that made us successful. But I've been lucky.
Wait, in the Air Force, 86-12 you went the first time, and you pitched 20-4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad. MVP.
I was the MVP that year, and we had a lot of professional players that had gone into the service, college players. It was a talented team. We used to play at Big Ten schools when they came south for spring training, and played the colleges in Texas, Rice, and some of the other schools. And we had a good time.
I love your dedication. I love you. And one of the previous shows I said, those who desire nothing possess everything. And it's a quote that's very difficult. I wrote it in a column, and I try to live by it. It's those who desire nothing possess everything, meaning that, and we had a conversation about this, is that when you're focused on something, you're really training hard and you love what you do and everything, that you, whether it's a bad day or a great day, you try to stay even keel. Like, how do you do that? And when I want to hear your favorite piece of that quote again. What was the favorite?
There was a poem by Rudyard Kipling called If, and one of the parts of that poem was, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, the world will be yours, my son. And translated to me was, keep an even keel. When you win, don't jump around like an idiot, and when you lose, don't go and cry. Just learn from your mistakes, learn from your failures, and be better the next time around. And that's the part about not being so overjoyed that you go make a fool out of yourself, but respect the other guy, because he's out there trying just as hard as you are.
Yep. You have a lot of good friends you've built over the years from baseball, right? What's one memory that sticks in your mind that you want to share? I mean, there's thousands of them, I know, but what?
Well, one time back in the Essex County League, we had 86 players that had gone onto the major leagues. So there was a lot of good players in the league. At this particular year, Joe Black was pitching in the league, the former MVP for the Dodgers. And they managed to schedule a game, me against him, and they charged admission to raise money for the March of Dimes. They had 1,000 people that paid, and there were no fences, so you could actually sneak in. I don't know how many people were actually there.
Really?
We won the game 3-1. Freddie Hill knocked in a winning run, the guy that wound up coaching at Rutgers, a tremendous competitor. That was one of my highlights. That was a great.
That's awesome. Yeah, but then back then in the 50s and 60s and they covered baseball in the papers like the local games more than they ever
had
did.
Two newspapers, the Star Ledger and the Old Newark News. They would put box scores in, pictures every night. Every game was covered.
Right.
People came to the games. If you didn't get to some of the fields, like Cameron Field, which had big grandstands in the old days, you couldn't get into the grandstand. People would line up all the way down the lines, and there'd be people up on the railroad tracks in the left field. Sovereign Field, same thing. West Orange. They were just.
And you're still coaching kids today, right? You're coach. I was at a game, and you're coaching one of the pitchers for Livingston High School.
Well, I go over, and the coach over there is a great coach, Mickey Ennis.
Yeah.
And he's got a bunch of talented kids, and I try to impart a little bit of knowledge on some of the fundamentals of things that I might help them to be a little bit better. I get a kick out of doing that. And
it's a great feeling to give back.
The kids are pretty receptive. They seem to listen to me.
Because you live and breathe it. I had Gary Sheffield on the show, and he's been a good hitter, right?
Oh, great hitter.
Right, he's an animal. Now, but his preparation before in the off season was insane. What he would do, and that's why he would just get up to bat and he would say, there's no more thinking or training at that point. Talk about that, and in baseball when you're hitting, how you really can't think too much.
Well, Yogi once said, you can't think and hit at the same time.
I love that quote.
It's got to be muscle memory, things that you practice. The important thing about practicing is you practice at your maximum all the time, because that's the only way you're going to be able to go out on the field and achieve. If you're lackadaisical when you practice, that's how you're going to wind up playing.
Right.
So I was always a person who believed in put it all out there, practice hard, work hard, and hopefully you'll reap some benefits.
There's nothing better than that. I used to train with martial arts, and we'd have you train, you kick the bag. I would kick it until I almost fainting, to the point where, even my son, I would take him to training, and we'd go to Newark, and
Well, I saw your son work out in the gym, and he was an animal.
Right.
He's a great kid too,
and
a good ball
appreciate
player.
that. Thank you. But that kind of feel, and some people say, hey, take it easy, take it easy. We're just training here, But what do you mean take it easy? You want to go all the ways, because you never know how much that's going to take you further later. You want to break that barrier to go past it. And one question what's your definition of success? What do you, it's been many years. You have all these quotes you've collected, but what's Doc Pollack?
That's a tough question. To me, success is just being accepted by your compatriots, the people around you, getting respect from them. It's hard.
I stumped you? No way. I stumped the Doc Pollack.
That's a tough question. Tough question.
But okay, let's go back to baseball then. What do you think? Are the top 3 things to be successful as a baseball player?
preparation, execution, I don't know, dedication. I mean, they were all wrapped up in the same ball. But you get out of it what you put into it.
So there's a book written. It's called Covered Wooden Grandstands, 100 plus years of semi-pro baseball in New Jersey and beyond. And it's a collection of all these stories, and you're the only one they wrote a chapter on. Have arm, will pitch. All right. Now I love this chapter. The funny thing about it is the writer didn't know where to start with your marathons, with all your Hall of Fames and what you've accomplished in the Air Force, but some great stories about you. We're talking about Mickey Mantle. Talk about this book and how you got in that.
Well, a sports writer by the name of Bruce Johnson decided he wanted to write a book about semi-pro baseball history in New Jersey. Called me up and we talked a little bit, and he said, I'd like to come over to your house and go into a little more depth. So he came over and we talked for a while. I had a bunch of pictures and articles and things I shared with him. And he wound up writing this book, which I understood it sold out. And I think he told me the other day he's going to have another printing.
Oh, great.
So
it's interesting. You're talking about a lot of writers involved in this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, listen. It's an honor, seriously. This isn't finished, Doc. Look, I'm telling you, when I come to the game, just if you come to Livingston Dodgers and meet Doc one time, he's the most positive person. He's always got great stories. I really appreciate you talking to my son too when he wanted some pep talks. You really helped him, and we're going to go out to the field now. We're going to see some of your buddies, and I'm going to try to hit some balls too. You mind if I hit some balls? Yeah.
Be my guest. I'd love to have you.
Here, we're going to go out to the field. We'll see you in a little bit on the field. Welcome back. I said we go out to the field. I've been waiting here for 3 weeks, and he finally ran down from the shore. We got Doc. We got Doc back. And Dave, tell us what, because Doc doesn't like to brag. He's one of the most humble people ever. What did he win?
He really is. We went down to Florida. We go every year to play in the Roy Hobbs World Series. We were in the 60s division. Doc won the MVP for the team.
For the team?
For the team, and he pitched his 1,028th win.
1,028 wins.
It was truly amazing, but he won't talk about it because he doesn't brag.
So tell me, when we're talking about training and hitting, and there's a statement that successful people do the things that unsuccessful people don't like to do. Whether it's in business, in baseball, and anything, the little things like, what are some things that you've seen over the years where people really hit well because they did certain things? Or what about training that's real critical?
Well, if you want to run a marathon, you got to run every day because you can't just go out and do it. And it's the same in any sport. You have to prepare yourself properly. For me as a pitcher, I used to go out before I went to work in the morning and run wind sprints. I hate doing wind sprints. I hate it, but you got to pay the price. You get nothing for nothing. So that's been my attitude in everything in life. If you're willing to go the extra mile and do a little bit more than the guy next to you, you got a shot at maybe excelling or being successful.
Right. Tenacity, persistence, keeping. My son, he loved baseball, so I wasn't that kind of father.
He was a hell of a player.
I didn't push him, but when he wanted to, I said, okay, let me see you hit till your hands bleed. He would do that, till his hands got blistered and so forth. And
we're going to call Dyfus on you.
Well, that's what they said many times, but that's another story. I was going to say, talk about the league here with all the players and everybody and how they...
the fellas that are here now, this goes back about 25 years. There was a fellow by the name of Doc Slocum who was a chemist at DuPont, invented Corian. And he had everybody, the old guys come out and we'd work out. And he's passed on a couple years ago. but we continued the tradition, and we come out every Thursday morning. We do it from about middle of April until November. When it gets too cold, we pack it in, or we go to Florida to play in a baseball
How many years
tournament.
you been doing this for?
25 about.
25 years?
Yeah.
Florida.
It's a nice. And you're a Roy Hobbs Hall of Fame too, right?
Yes, yes. Last year.
We got all these famous people here. So, what do you think? What do you get out of this when you come here? What is it? Because you play in the Dodgers and you're.
I love the guys. I love the camaraderie, just everything that we do, and I need the physical activity because as you get older, if you don't keep moving, they throw dirt on you. So, you know.
Well, here we got you were hitting. How do you feel now? You were hitting nice shots and you're pitching and you're doing all this. You're 83 years old and you're 83
good.
years young. I see people 60 can't do anything like that.
Old man time's catching up to me, but I'm still trying.
But you're involved all the time. I hear people like from business want to retire, and what happens is what's at rest dies. The smallest living animal, an amoeba, if it doesn't move, it dies. No, I'm serious. You just keep engaged and talk about that, because that's something in business I think we forget about. How much that keeps us living longer and more alert and our mind focused.
Well, if you keep the people around you busy and make them successful, it makes you successful. You know, you can't be focusing on yourself and trying to make yourself look good and make everybody else look bad. If you help them and they perform and they do what they're supposed to do, that's a benefit to you.
He gives everybody else credit. See, this is the way he is. But this guy is gifted. He's gifted. God made something here that doesn't usually come along.
But he also works. It's nurture nature, right?
And he does.
Yeah.
He
What's
really
the
does.
success of hitting? What's the strategy of successful hitting? What are some of the tips on that?
Same thing. You got to just do it all the time. Some guys, and there's a fellow over here by the name of Silas can get up in the middle of the night and probably get 3 hits with no preparation. But most guys, you got to go out and work. You got to work on fundamentals, your mechanics. And nothing comes for nothing. You don't just walk out and do something. You take a guy off the street and hand him a bat, he's not going to hit the ball.
Right.
So it's preparation.
What about business? What did baseball teach you about business? Because we talked about that earlier.
Tenacity, again, making people.
He's leaving us already. What's going on? Okay, go ahead. Tenacity, making.
Probably got a call from Steinbrenner, and he's going to report. When somebody comes into my office, I want him to feel as though he's the most important person in the world. My office was in Millburn. He was the mayor of Millburn, and we're going to do everything we can, give him what he wants, and if we do that, he gives us what we want.
Right.
Referrals and everything else that goes along with it. So to be successful, you have to put yourself in the other person's shoes and figure out what it is that they're there for and provide it for them. And once you do that, that's kind of the secret of being successful.
In business, but you do it here. You make people feel comfortable. Everybody likes to come out here and join you, and you've led the Dodgers to a big winning seasons over the years.
We've had good players, and they perform. But even out here, when a guy gets up and takes a couple of swings and hits the ball well, I compliment him. You know, that goes a long way towards, it's a big mental game. You know, half of baseball is mental.
Right.
Half of hitting is mental. If you go up there with the attitude that you can hit, you got one leg up on the guy who's up there and protective. You know, he doesn't feel like he can hit the ball, and he's not up there with confidence. So, being confident in everything you do, it's contagious.
Right. No, you know what? My son came back and said, Dad, I'm just not hitting today. And I said, well, what do you think you need to do? And I go, maybe watch the ball better or whatever. And he went over 100 things, but it's what you do before the game, after the game, behind the scenes, to be hitting constantly, so that you don't think anymore. We talked about motion, about no mind in baseball.
Well, the thing also is when you practice, you should practice as if you're in a game. You should never slough off. You should never do it half speed, because what you do in practice is what you wind up doing. It translates to what you do on the field.
That's a great point.
And the same thing in business. You give it your best shot all the way down the line. Never settle for second best. Never say that's good enough. It's never good enough. It's either good or it's no good. It's
You're
not
on
acceptable.
all the time. There was a saying.
You got to be.
The founder of Ralston Purina said, the goal with successful people is to be your own self at your very best all the time.
That's
It's
great.
hard to be on all the time like that, right?
Yeah, well,
and be yourself and who you are, and you've done that well.
Well, when you don't get there, you got to own it and try to make it better the next time around. You can never, you can't be perfect all the time, but you can try to be.
Let me see that handshake, though. Seriously, see that? No, if you can't feel it at home, but I'm telling you, the guy's got a handshake like a gorilla. I don't know what the hell. What do you do? Do you work out with the hand, or is it just all?
I work out 3 times a week in the gym.
What do you do?
Elliptical and things for
cardio, weights, everything.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And then where I'm out playing ball 3 or 4 times a week. So I'm pretty active, and I try to eat properly. I got a few extra pounds on me, but
yeah, you look great.
Can't seem to lose it.
Yeah. I wanted the viewers to see him out in the field. Look at you saw him pitching and hitting, and I think it's an inspiration for everybody to do what you've done over the years. And I appreciate you coming on and really
thank you.
Enjoyed this. You're a good man.
Oh,
you're
thanks.
a good man.
Thanks. I try.
You're a good man. This is Mind Your Business, and we're out on a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Mind Your Business is brought to you by Today's Business, your digital marketing partner.